All right. Welcome, everybody, to the November 5th, Guy Fawkes Day, 2025 Planning and Development Subcommittee meeting. I'm Jason Grove, I'm chair of the committee. To my left is Val Gilman, who is the vice chair of the committee and an outgoing city councilor. We're going to miss her terribly.
Thank you.
And Ward 2, recently reelected, Dylan Benson is our third member. We have a couple of items that are to be continued. City Council Order 2025-045. I should have also mentioned that we have Fire Chief Eric Smith, Suzanne Egan, our legal counsel, in attendance as well. So to be continued. City Council Order 2025-45 amend GZO zoning map by changing zoning district designation of identified lots from marine industrial to neighborhood business. That's going to be continued until December 3rd, 2025. 2, a memorandum from the building commissioner on behalf of the zoning board of appeals regarding a proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance section 6 definitions. That'll be continued to December 3rd, 2025. Poll petition 2025-006 by National Grid for Prospect Street. That will be continued to November 19th. And rezoning 2025-006 amend GZO section 511 inclusionary housing requirement. That's continued to November 19th. That's still at the planning and planning board. So that's what we have to come up in the next few weeks. Tonight we have 2 items. We have a special event application, event number 25-58, request for street closures for the Middle Street Walk on Saturday, December 13th, 2025. Do we have Gloria on the line? Does she? Let me take a look at my participants.
Gloria is online.
Fantastic. Let's bring her in.
She is allowed.
Yeah, we got it. Okay.
She just has her, she's muted currently.
Yeah, Gloria, if you can hear us, would you demute yourself? Yeah, I've got this right now. Let me think on the screen. Gloria, are you there? There, yeah, go ahead, Gloria. You can demute yourself. You can speak. Unmute yourself, I guess it is. Yeah, demute yourself. Yeah. The second meeting.
To help you out.
Appreciate it.
And the assistant.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Good evening, Gloria. I think she's just. Her sound is way up high.
Do one of us have?
No, that's just me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Gloria.
I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Very good.
Jason, you don't.
It's, we can mute us and we can.
We can mute us and we can't ask for questions.
Hang on one
You
second.
don't have.
Hang on one second. We don't have the microphone.
We have a microphone.
Yeah, we're good. We'll just-
Yeah, we're good.
All right, just give us a second.
All right, just give us a second.
Okay.
I mean, now I can't talk to her.
Now I can't talk to her.
We have a microphone.
When we mute this.
Oh, we need this. We need.
It's not you.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So how about if I use my
So I'll
microphone
have to use my microphone
and turn the
and turn the sound down. Okay.
Gloria,
Gloria,
Yeah.
I'm speaking to you from the
I'm
bottom of the
speaking to you from the bottom of a well.
I'm just gonna have you.
I'm just gonna have you,
We're gonna turn off our sound.
turn off
You're gonna
our
give
sound.
us,
You're gonna give us,
on the
off
and your questions.
asking your questions.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, is that right?
Gloria, can you turn down your
Lori,
volume a
can you
little
turn
bit?
down your volume a little?
Turn down the volume. Yeah,
Can you hear us okay?
Can you hear us okay?
Gloria,
Gloria,
yeah.
why don't you give us a rundown on the Middle Street
why
Walk?
don't you give us a rundown on the Middle Street Walk?
Okay, we're looking for a road closure of Middle Street from noon until 3 o'clock on December 13th for a horse-drawn wagon ride.
Okay, and you've
Okay,
done
okay.
you've done the
You've
SCAC.
done the SCAC.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You've been approved by the SEAC
You've been
committee,
approved by the
right?
SEAC,
Yes.
right?
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Do you have any
Does anybody have
questions?
any questions? Do you have any questions?
No,
We know this
I
deal.
love this event. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Great.
we're gonna cut the pain off here, Gloria. I don't think we have any issues with your event.
Off here, Gloria. I don't think we have any issues with your event.
I think we're just gonna go
I
ahead and read a
didn't hear you.
motion.
I'm sorry.
I think we're just gonna go ahead and read a motion.
We're gonna read a motion and we're gonna
No,
take a
no
vote.
issues.
We have no
Okay.
issues. You can go ahead and turn your volume off now.
I muted her.
Okay, good. All right. Sorry about that. That was points to the ridiculousness of us doing this every year. You want to read the motion? Bill, you want to read the motion?
Okay, sure. Move to permit the Middle Street Walk Committee to close Middle Street from Trinity Congregational Church at 70 Middle Street to Washington Street on November 30th, 2025, with a rain date of December 7th, 2025. Is it really November 30th?
You know, whatever's
Yes.
on
Oh, okay,
that. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not November 30th.
then it,
Is that
December 13th?
December 13th.
All right, this is the Joe Chelino thing.
Let me see. Right here, December 7th. Everything else is correct.
Okay, just
Good catch.
Correction.
just to correct the record, December 13th, 2025, with a rain date of December.
Stop.
No, that's Ed's.
Ed?
I'm off.
All right. One strike. I'm just- Gloria, let's call
We should
Gloria.
we should still be, fine.
We should be fine, but I'm gonna want to call Gloria to confirm the dates.
Yes, thank you.
Because that doesn't sound right.
It
Of
should
course.
be December. That's my fault, not her fault.
It's okay, but the rain date's wrong. We can't have a rain date in advance of the event date.
No, we can't.
I'm assuming it's the day
Well,
after
let's
that.
look and see if-
Cause I'm looking at
Minute.
this special application, special event permit application, it's blank for rain dates. So it
Doesn't
says,
have any rain date.
so it may not have, but let's confirm, I think we should confirm with her just in case.
I agree. I'm still looking for her phone number. We did call her. She's
978. This is here on our application, 978 790.
hang on a second, yeah, 7-8. Yeah, this is how we do things. folks.
790.
Yeah, I'm still unable to use my phone.
That's okay.
978.
790. 2274. Zero 2274.
978-290-2274. Hi, Gloria, Jason Grove here. We were having a little issue with your with the connection on the microphone thing, so we're just gonna ask you a couple quick questions if we could.
Okay, sure.
So the date of the event is December 13th, correct?
Yes.
And is there a rain date?
No.
There is no rain date. Okay, that was a point of confusion. So no rain date. All right, it's still 12 to 3. Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm just gonna leave you here. We're gonna read the motion and have a discussion and vote, okay? So just stay on the line with me here.
Sure.
Fire away.
All right. Move to permit the Middle Street Walk Committee to close Middle Street from Trinity Congregational Church at 70 Middle Street to Washington Street on December 13th, 2025, from 12 PM to 3 PM with the following conditions. Road closure plans. Roads to be closed are to be marked with signage directing the public as to the duration of the closure and alternate routes. Any substantial changes as determined by either police or fire chief or their designees to the route or related to safety issues will require council approval. Notification of immediate abutters and businesses. Notice shall be made by the event organizer by hand or by mail no later than 7 days in advance of the event. And 3, police detail to be located at the intersection of Middle Street / Washington Street and Church Street / Washington Street.
Do something.
So moved, yep.
So,
Second.
great. We moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? You want to say anything unless you like to do anything? If you can hear you.
I love this event, Gloria, so thank you.
Without any other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Gloria, I just wanted to thank you for bringing to our attention that terrible email you got, and you actually really helped us out doing that, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it would have been a real unhappy Christmas. Anyway, you're all set to go. Have a great event.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Bye-bye. I know I'm exhausted now. We should just go home. Next thing on the agenda, special council permit 2025-008 New Way Lane number 50. Cluster zoning ordinance sections 1.5 general procedures relating to appeals, variances and special permits, 1.8 use table special permits, 2.3.2 community services uses. Number 3, personal wireless service facility, and 5.13 wireless communications facilities to permit a wireless communication facility in the R30 district. So this is an existing site that is going to have a new pole put on, and we're going to hear all about it. And we got some.
If I could grab a little bit of real estate
Why
on
don't
the
you-
table,
Oh, yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah, I just want to pull a chair up.
I can move down a little bit,
Thank
sorry.
you. Otherwise, I'll never get through this.
Oh, you're fine.
With my mouse.
So if you could just introduce yourself,
Yep.
name and address, or
You bet.
for the record, and we'll go through your rather lengthy application.
The lengthy application. All in compliance with the ordinance.
Well, it's our fault, I realize.
Yeah. My name is Ed Parry. It's P-A-R-E. I'm an attorney at Brown Rudnick. I'm here representing SBA, which is the tower owner, and AT&T, which is the proposed co-locator. I do have some folks in the chat room. They're probably waiting. We don't have to let them in until we need the answer, but you should have a few people there, right?
I have several, yes.
Okay. Should I share my screen? Is that?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
It's the capability is the question.
That's right. Well, obviously, we can't. manage to- There we go.
All right, here we go.
All
I
right.
spent a lot of time on this. We must have run through.
So we're just gonna let you talk.
Yep.
If we have any questions, we'll pipe in, but we'll try to let you just get through it.
But
That's it.
So thanks for seeing us tonight. I've been here numerous times over some 23 years in Gloucester doing wireless. Most recently, as I mentioned to Counselor Gilman, I tend to look like this on a Zoom from my basement. But now we're live and in person, which is great. So AT&T has a need in the area to provide coverage. They began searching around and obviously stumbled across this existing monopole that's owned by SBA. It's located at 50 New Way Lane in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Let's see. Which place? So just to get the parties here, SBA owns the tower. They build towers, they manage towers, operate for FCC providers of communication services. AT&T is one of those. Also in play here is Verizon Wireless, T-Mobile, and Dish. Each of those entities are located on the existing tower that's at the site. With me on the line is Rafaela Cardona. She is the project manager for SBA. And then we have some other folks that have prepared documents, radio frequency engineer, engineer from Kimley Horn, and an engineer from Oak Bluffs Engineering. So this is the site plan. It's a little hard to read because it kind of gets small on a slide, but New Way Lane is here. We have an access drive that runs the entirety of the parcel up to the rear where the monopole is located, and this will become a little clearer in a second. But basically, this plan shows that we're in compliance. This is the radius circles that are required for the fall zone under the ordinance. And as I said, the tower is located to the rear. I do want to highlight that the city of Gloucester actually owns the two large parcels, one to the east here and one kind of to the southwest, I guess. And I'll run through that quickly in a second. The next slide is an enlarged site plan. So this little circle dead in the center here is the existing monopole. It's 76 feet in height. It was approved by the city council back in 2003 pursuant to some litigation that was had with the city. The special permit was issued. I think the pole was 66 feet at the time. Verizon has since extended it to 76 feet. The tower is maxed out. None of the existing carriers can really expand to have their full deployment of antennas and equipment. And so AT&T certainly can't attach to it. And in your packet, I did provide a structural showing it fails. So when AT&T saw the tower, realized it would not work, they worked with SBA, came up with a proposal to put in a new monopole. That new monopole is this circle to the northwest, just slightly. We'll be shifting the tower by about 18 feet. The existing tower will be removed once the new tower is up and operating, if it's approved and built. The existing tower was not built to accommodate all of the carriers with all of the equipment that they require now, the antennas, the remote radio units. We're using our cell phones for much different purposes now for everything, data. AT&T has a significant coverage gap in the area. They're not anywhere in the area, so they're experiencing horrible service on their network. The nice thing about this, and we call these in the parlance of wireless a drop and swap. So we drop a new tower in to swap out the old one, and we get a modern facility able to accommodate all of the carriers' needs, not only for today, but in the future. In this instance, we've designed the location of the poles so that T-Mobile, Dish, and Verizon can all keep their electronic equipment and shelters, cabinets in place. AT&T will be located towards the rear of the compound. This is a fence compound to the exterior here. AT&T will use the walk-up cabinet, which contains all of their electronic equipment, which is depicted here. You can kind of see the little doors opening towards the monopole. They also have a backup power generator next to the equipment cabinet. So this is the elevation of the site. AT&T would be at the top of the proposed monopole. Well, not at the top, but at the top where the carriers are located. So AT&T, we talk about height locations as the antenna center line. So AT&T would be located at 120 feet antenna center line. That would mean the antennas half of the antenna would stick up above that center line. So the proposal was to construct a 125-foot pole, and I'll explain what the rest of this is shortly. We would then relocate Verizon, place them just below AT&T, T-Mobile, and then Dish. So the reason for the top extension, when we start looking at new tower facilities, we tend to reach out to public safety to determine whether there are any needs, police, fire. In this instance, AT&T also has something called FirstNet, which is a first responders network. It's a prioritized preemptory network that's used for first responders. So in theory, the way it works is that if the site were overwhelmed because of an event or, some emergency, this came out of the 911 commission, if the cell service, if the cell carriers all get overloaded, how do our public safety folks talk? So this network was designed, AT&T bid for it, they won an RFP with the federal government. So the way it works is if the networks are overloaded and first responders need to attach, they get priority. So all of the commercial traffic, all the personal traffic gets knocked off, and the first responders then have a cleared network to deal with the emergency that we are all experiencing, unfortunately. So in talking with the fire chief and the police chief, I don't know if there are any other chiefs on those calls, but
No.
fire and police anyway, possibly some IT folks for the city. We agreed that we would extend the tower. We worked with their engineering design folks on their radio system and came up with two components. One is the tower extension, which will be used for city public safety. It's not something that SBA will be leasing to carriers. There's a little lightning rod up at the top. It's not visible here because it's generally not visible on any tower. All the towers have them. In the event of a lightning strike, it does whatever it does to ground the electricity. So that's not really part of the tower. It's more of an addition for safety purposes. The other thing the city needed was a microwave hall. And I don't know if this is going to be installed immediately, but this is backhaul for police and fire. One dish is for police, one dish is for fire. And again, this was designed in consultation with the public safety folks and their engineers.
Can I just stop you real
Yep,
quick right
sure.
there? Is there any ongoing expense to the city for access to those two?
This?
Yes.
No, so there's no rent, this is more of just a straight up partnership with, look, we're building a tower, we're trying to build a tower. If we can provide public safety, we'll do so. There's no cost to the city. We don't buy the equipment, but we give up the real estate, the vertical real estate on the tower. And also in the compound, we provided space for a ground cabinet, so that they could put their equipment there also.
So who does buy the equipment? Is that
What's that?
we buy the equipment?
You buy the equipment, yes.
Okay. Can I stop you real quick?
Sure.
Chief, is that something we're budgeting for?
So we have an earmark from Representative Ferrante that's actually in process right now. That's gonna stand up a site that we've already invested into equipment for Bond Hill. That will finish that site and get that city-owned tower up at top of Bond Hill done, as well as this site will come online, and there may be hopefully some extra money to tweak up some of the backup power supplies at some of the other sites in the city. But it sounds like, we work pretty closely with these folks to get this done. And right now, based on that earmark, we can afford to do this. It wouldn't be put off for like future use. It would be something we could do now. And the savings piece of it is that if we're in at the beginning, when they're erecting this tower and they start hanging everybody's equipment, usually who's ever at the top goes first, right? And so that setup and those climbers, the folks that do that are expensive. And if this is a joint effort, we probably will save money on our install for installing our antenna, dropping the wire, making those connections. So that's what we're looking forward to. There's, some other minor details on like the city's network, fiber cable, that we're working with John and IT and with these folks to find out while they're pulling their fiber run up there, can they pull a second strand for us that would work? So those things are still ongoing, but again, it's asking a lot, kind of, and if they do it, great. If they don't, then we know the cost of getting into these things is an upfront piece, and we have a decent amount of money from the state to get this done.
And just to follow up that, is there the expectation that how much kind of cost will there be annually after that, once it's installed?
Annually, there's not a ton of money annually, other than every couple of years replacing the UPCs, which are, a couple $1,000s, but they have generator power on this site. So they're smaller units, so they may not be even that expensive. We usually put the larger battery backups in the sites where IT's got to scramble to plug in one of their generators to keep us live. In this case, they're gonna have their own generator power there, like we do on many of the sites that we piggyback on, which works great. So I mean, it's a huge savings to the city that we don't have to pay rent. One of the towers over in Continental Road Park was astronomical for us to even consider to go on there. So the police were lucky enough that they got on there for free many years ago, and they attempted to boot them out, but they found documentation that said, no, you said we could be here. So we tried to piggyback on that. They said, you're not listed, you're not coming unless you pony up a lot of money. And it
So
was,
we should remember to
it
put
was
that
a lot.
language in whatever agreement we're.
yeah, and in this case,
Yeah.
that, those things need to be in writing and in perpetuity,
Yeah.
that we have the right and access and so forth and so on. So, I mean, they've been great customers, wherever AT&T has been on a tower, they're pretty good with us because we do use them. We're on FirstNet. We're one of their customers. I can tell you that I've been pounding on them for 3 years to do this, and they're doing it. So they put their money where they need to.
Okay. You get a free phone?
I don't get a free phone.
Anyway.
Maybe I'll be a tower climber if I can make more money.
There you
doing
go.
it, yeah.
All right, sorry to interrupt.
So
I just wanted to get.
one little twist there that I hadn't gotten to, and it's important. So I represent SBA. I also represent AT&T, and they're a big client of mine, and that's the driver and one of the real reasons I'm here. We did, and I told the chief, we did talk to AT&T. They are going to install a backup power generator. They're willing to share their capacity in the generator, so they can have backup power. I mean, the key is to having something durable. If power goes out, if we have ice storms, if we have some kind of emergency, this is the thing that's going to keep it going. As long as we have a fiber connection with police and fire, once they install their backhaul microwave hop, they're probably good no matter what, as long as they have juice up the electricity up there, either through our generator or electrical service.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, not at all. So this is a picture of the existing towers. I mentioned there's 3 carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Dish. Tower is 76 feet. As you'll see, all the equipment is down at the base. Would basically be moving that fence out toward the rear, installing AT&T's gear, putting a new pole about 18 feet away from the existing pole. We would put the new pole in, let the cement set, do whatever we have to do. We would bring in crane or bucket, whatever is necessary. We did agree with the chief that if they're ready to go, when we're ready to go, we can get people up there installing, assisting with the install, use the crane. I mean, it just saves everybody money. Get AT&T, get the police and fire, we get AT&T, then we get Verizon over, T-Mobile over, and Dish, power the thing up, get all of the carriers operating again, and we'll take the old pole down.
Okay.
So as I meant, the lot itself that we're talking about is in green. And your GIS maps are great to work with. So this is the parcel. This is our access way, as I mentioned. The pole is actually back here in this corner. The 2 red lots, the ones I mentioned, are owned by the city of Gloucester. So we felt this was an ideal location to do a drop-in swap. We know that the tower is going higher to accommodate AT&T and to accommodate the city's public safety equipment. But really, the affected area is going to be these immediate abutting properties, which are undeveloped. I don't know what the plans are with the city about development, but at least for now, they're undeveloped. And, the tower has been there for 23 years. It'll be more visible, obviously, because it's taller. But again, I think the most immediate impact is usually the immediate abutters, and that's the city of Gloucester. Just some site information. We're in the low density residential zoning district. It requires, towers requires the approval of the city council, which we filed, referred to planning and development. I'm not going to restate everything, but the three carriers are on board. The setbacks were 803 feet from New Way Lane. We're 124 feet from the east property line, 236 from the west, and 58 to the south, which is where the Gloucester owned parcels are located. There's one waiver that we requested. The zoning ordinance requires a rear yard setback of 30 feet. The ordinance requires that 30 feet be from a shelter. We actually use equipment cabinets, not a shelter, but you know, I do everything conservatively. We read things literally. Our cabinet is going to be about 10 feet, 10 inches off the property line. The generator will be about 10 feet, 1 inch off the property line. So within that 30-foot buffer, the city council can waive it. We've requested that waiver. We think it makes sense to put there. We think it's in the public interest to do so. That way we're not expanding the compound toward the front. It also allows the town to get their equipment closer to the monopole. And we're not putting AT&T up near the pole where we have to shift it further away. So we think it makes sense that it's there and it's hidden further from any of the abutters.
Okay.
There are no daycare centers or dwelling units within 150% of the height of the tower, or 219 feet. It allows AT&T and public safety to co-locate. Other carriers can now expand their footprint and get their full contingent of antennas and equipment up there. So services will be improved for Verizon, T-Mobile, and Dish customers. It doesn't require lighting. We can go up to 200 feet. Notice that the FAA is not required. We're in a flood zone X. We're not in the Mass Coastal Flood Risk Model. So all in all, it's kind of a replacement site for something that's already there. These are all of the AT&T neighboring sites. Closest site we have to this, which is in the dead center here, is about 1.3 miles away. These are AT&T coverage maps. Everything I'm showing obviously was filed with the city council as part of our packet. So the middle little blue star here is the proposed location. AT&T is trying to achieve green. Green is the best coverage. White is no coverage. Orange is adequate coverage, where we could get in vehicle or somebody, you know, standing to the outside. Green would be you could get in building coverage. You could be in your house and have, you know, solid AT&T coverage for data uses, videos, whatever TikToks people use these days. So I'll show you the coverage map coming up that will be proposed, and you'll see it'll fill in quite nicely with green and orange.
Can we go back one?
Again,
See here.
Let me go back again.
Yeah.
Can we come back? Okay. I just
you'll
want
see same blue star. You'll see. So the idea is that these antennas are in a 360-degree pattern. So they emit, they kind of create this circular blob of coverage, and that's what you're seeing. If it runs into terrain issues or blockage issues, it doesn't quite go through. That's why they're not always in the same, you know, circular pattern. So the other existing AT&T sites, you see these little black stars, you'll see they're all kind of the same. They emit coverage kind of in a 360-degree pattern. And now I'll switch back to proposed here. And you'll see we get the same.
So question, and it's not totally relevant, but where does how does coverage get to those areas?
Yeah, more sites.
Okay.
More sites for Verizon.
So there needs to be, is that what you're saying there? Well, obviously that's not for what we're doing, but just so I
Correct.
understand.
Right, so if
Okay.
you want AT&T coverage throughout these white areas here, AT&T is not providing coverage there.
Okay,
You'd need some kind of site, another tower, another location.
that's good. That's
Yep.
understandable.
So
Okay.
yeah, each of these black diamonds, black stars are existing AT&T
Existing
sites.
AT&T sites.
They don't
Okay.
have to, you know, they don't have to be towers. They could be an existing tower, could be, well, there aren't many tall rooftops, you know, that we could use, but, you know, any tall structure, if there's a water tank out there, once AT&T decides they're gonna try to service an area, then they'd start searching, maybe stumble across the tower and do a drop and swap.
Okay, thank you. And if I may,
Sure.
when you're talking about services improve, what are we looking at? Like how much service? I mean, obviously you're showing on the map here, but could you like explain it more like granularly, saying like how the customer's gonna improve from this? That makes sense.
Yeah, so if you're, let me go back to this. If you're in the white area, you're probably getting very little AT&T coverage. You might be able to connect a call. If you're standing outside, if you're in your car, you're not gonna get
Okay.
a connection. Orange is called, and I have a radio frequency engineer on here with us, but Orange is a certain level of service which will get you in-car coverage. What we're trying to achieve is green. So if we can get green, then if you're in your house, in your basement, well, in your house, possibly in your basement, you get good coverage from AT&T so that you could use your AT&T network for all of your devices. Orange, it's a little sketchy as to whether you're gonna get in building, depends what the building's made of, what your tree cover is like around your lot, so forth. Nice thing is, you'll see here, we've got some gaps up here on 128, which. Yep, there we go. Oh. In this area here, so the elevation here gets us coverage out towards the northwest and over into the highway area. So where AT&T is experiencing gaps, even along this highway here, which frankly is just a public safety issue.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely dead zones coming into town,
Yeah.
and it definitely is a public safety issue.
I
Because what if
experienced them
something-
all coming in tonight.
Oh, I'm sure. So, yeah, no, but with that being said, is like, so we'll serve it, how much service will be improved?
It'll be significant. If
But yes.
Yeah, if you're in the green area, you'll get full, bars aren't really the best measurement, but that's, more of a marketing thing, but
Yeah.
you'll be 5 bars. You'll get all of the services that AT&T
Yeah.
provides at the best speeds. Those are the best data rates, the best call connectivity. Likewise, in the orange areas, again, if you're in a building, in a vehicle, if you're in a building that might just be made of wood and don't have a lot of foliage around your lot, you probably also get very good service and good data rates. Yeah, almost not. This is where we pick up the additional population coverage and road coverage.
This is
So
helpful.
at neg 93, I gotta put my glasses on for this. Based on the census, we figure we'll pick up 1,120 new population counts in Gloucester, accounting for about 2.2 miles of roadway, 2.2 square miles of area, and roadway wise, about 11.5 miles.
What is DBM?
dBm, that's the measurement of the radio frequency signal.
Okay.
So it's kind of backwards. Neg 83 is stronger than neg 93. I can have the engineer come on and explain it. And again, I have folks on the line here, and any particular questions, we can get them on and they're all the experts.
Okay,
I just take credit for the presentation.
fair enough.
So just in conclusion, there's an existing pole. I think it makes sense to use an existing site that has an existing pole. We remove it, we put up something stronger, taller. It provides for AT&T, provides for Gloucester Public Safety, allows all of the existing wireless carriers to upgrade. It becomes a modern telecommunications facility. The existing pole will be removed. The one thing I'd caution on the removal is we want to get it built, get it solid, get everybody over to the new site, get it operational, and then we can take the old one down so that we don't get a lot of angry Dish customers, T-Mobile customers, and Verizon customers. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know we filed a ton of documents,
Yeah. Sorry.
but I don't want to drone on, so I'll.
What is
Take my lead.
what is the estimated construction time and transfer to the new pole and then removal of the existing pole?
Yeah, I think construction you're probably looking at 3 to 4 months. I think once the tower's up, the cement's set and the carriers can move over. That point will probably take 3 to 4 months to get all the carriers over. So I've done a lot of these, and I can tell you that we have to go to each of the carriers, get them, to get a crew out there, get their equipment, shift it over. Now, I think they'll put all new equipment on, which will help. So I anticipate Verizon will go up, they'll install brand new antennas. They'll probably trash the old ones with the monopole. Their equipment will stay in place, but there's a lot of kind of make ready work. they've got to get their cables extended, so they go up, right now the cables run, they go up 76 feet. We're gonna move the pole by 18 feet. They've got to go across up to 100 and, put Verizon 100 feet. So they've got work to do. Getting them all to do something at the same time is certainly a challenge, but we'll pressure. Once the pole goes up and it's ready, I'd say within 3 or 4 months.
Okay, and I'm assuming you're not doing this during the winter time, because you're dealing with concrete.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You're dealing with concrete, so you're not gonna be doing this during the
Yeah,
winter.
it's a good question. I haven't seen situations where we stop. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think it's that cold that this south, but it could be. I mean, if we run into delays, I don't know that we're gonna be ready for winter time. Just the process here is, we still have further meetings with B and D.
Yep.
We have to go to city council for a special permit. We have to do construction drawings. We have to get building
Okay.
permits. Do I think this could be built in this winter? Probably not.
I'm just curious. All right, is there anything else you wanted to?
I think that's it. Again, there's a lot of material. I'm happy to answer any questions of interest. I don't want to, go down a path where people don't have an interest. I think the gap's pretty clear and we think it's a great project.
We brought Suzanne because we don't do these very often.
I know.
And the last time that it was here 20 years ago, it ended up in litigation, and we obviously want to avoid similar experiences. So, Suzanne, would you like to address any issues that we should be thinking about in terms of the conditions or approval process, and I mean, based on what's happened before?
I think it's important just that the city council understands the application and make sure you understand any of the concerns. If we have subject matter experts that are available to give a rundown on anything that, they think is pertinent, that's important to do. I think that in our other special permit decisions that we have granted, there is some question, or there's some discussion about training, whether we need any sort of, as we spoke about earlier,
Public safety training.
right, public safety training for such a high school, particularly this one. This is very high. There's also the issue of whether you want to have balloon testing so that you can get an idea of how high will look. And then the other thing is that there's a report submitted for your review. We could always send that out to third-party review.
That's the RF study, is that it?
Yes. To make a determination, just to look at that and give you that review. Another subject matter expert looking at that.
Sure.
Can we talk about the RF study, what that means and why we're even looking at it?
Sure. Can you let Martin Laban in? He might be ML on the,
He is allowed to talk.
Martin?
Yes.
Well, thank goodness.
He might need a little volume.
Just turn that below, that's okay, not reverberating throughout the,
Martin, did you have any, I don't know that we need to add anything on the coverage maps, but obviously if any of the councilors have any questions on that, could you just go through the emission study?
what is it, mean, and what are we looking at?
Okay, I'll be bringing it up on the screen, or
I could probably do that.
Also, if you could just your name and address your company for the record.
He has the ability, if he wants to share his screen, he has the ability to as well.
Okay, Martin, you can share if you want. That might be easier.
He's still there. He needs to turn on, Martin needs to turn on his mic again. He's now a panelist. And he is able to share his screen now.
I'm back on again. Okay.
There you go.
Open the report here.
Again, Martin, if you could just introduce yourself for the record.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize I was unmuted. So Martin Levin, C Squared Systems, Senior RF Engineer on behalf of AT&T.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard me before, but we're looking at what is the RF study? What is it telling us? Why should we be concerned about it? Just give us a primer here on RF studies.
You're not sharing yet if you're opening.
There it is.
Can you see me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. This is the report. Basically, the FCC sets the limits based on the amount of radiation they're allowing per centimeter squared or RF energy. And we do the calculations in compliance with their standards. Basically, most of it is based on worst cases, as if the power is on all the time, all the power adds perfectly, there's a perfect ground reflection, and a bunch of other things that probably don't have much chance of all happening at the same time. So we're modeling the two the antennas, the fire department and the police department's antennas, AT&T, all of AT&T's antennas, and in the report they're referred to as tenant 1 and tenant 2, but it's typical installations for Verizon and T-Mobile. The report is done in terms of maximum percentage of the maximum allowed by the FCC. For each frequency that's emitted, there is a specific limit based on the frequency. We do a percentage for each emission, and then those percentages are added up to come up with a total. In this case, the maximum was calculated to be 22.86% at 655 feet from the tower. In my experience, you'll never see more than about 20% of that at the most, because the transmitters are never always on at full power. One of the ways we transmit data is by variations in power. So if it were on all the time at the same power, we wouldn't be transmitting any information that way at all. We assume no losses due to the atmosphere, due to foliage, due to any other factors in the area. It's worst case built on top of worst case to come to a number that we couldn't exceed with the equipment installed under the worst possible conditions. So the likely highest measurement you'd ever see is somewhere around 4 or 5%.
And that's of the maximum. So the calculated maximum is 22 point something percent, whatever he said, but the actual will be much lower than that.
Can you show us some numbers to give us an example of what
Last
we're
page,
looking at?
last page, Martin.
That's AT&T and the assumed configurations for the other tenants.
Yeah, Mark, can you just scroll back up for a second?
Actually, there was a tenant 3 back then, I think.
I know, I just want to say, so you have AT&T, then you have Verizon, then you have T-Mobile, then you have Dish, then you have Gloucester Fire Department, then Gloucester Police Department, which we were able to include.
And in the meantime, Dish kind of went away. Entirely, not just on this site, but overall, they're going to be a virtual network provider through one of the other carriers. So tenant 3 will not be making any contribution to this, thereby lowering the emissions by about 2%. Even at the worst case, we'd be more like 20% at the worst case now, because Dish will not be deploying anything anymore.
But does that give you an opening to get a new client in there, a new tenant?
It could.
Among carriers, there just isn't one.
Okay.
Yeah.
AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile is all there is. Yeah.
Mark, why don't you explain this chart quickly?
Sure. This based on the antenna patterns of the antennas installed, we look at what the maximum would be at every location out to 3,000 feet from the tower. You can see there's a peak around 18%, kind of close in, then it drops down. The cumulative effect of all the carriers, then it peaks out at the 22.86 we saw earlier at 655 feet. And then as you go away, the patterns kind of become, everybody's sort of in the main beam anyways, and the antenna pattern doesn't really matter anymore. And you slowly tail off till you get down to about 1%, 3,000 feet away from the tower. And the ones, that's the blue line, shows the overall additive effect. And that's the cumulative effect of all the other ones at the bottom in the other different colors.
Does the height matter in this particular case? Does it spread it out over a broader distance?
This is, the tower is kind of in the medium range for height for us. It's a much shorter tower. The maximum point would probably be a little closer. If the tower were much taller, the maximum point would be lower and probably further out.
And why are we concerned about this?
It's a requirement for the FCC. They've set the limits to protect public safety. At 100%, there's still at 100% based on general population limits, which means the totally uncontrolled environment with no one operating with knowledge that there is a tower or thing in the area and can't just for anyone to be walking by. Still has a safety factor of 50. Even at 100%, it's 1/50th of what would cause any effect. So layer upon layer, we're talking about 1/5 of 1/50th of what would cause any effects. So it's a very, very low number, and that's the standard that's been set by the FCC.
Okay,
Yes, I don't think you have to be concerned with it as long as we comply.
Right.
And that's why we file the reports to show we comply.
any questions on it?
Have we notified the abutters on this?
I did. So we received notice on Friday,
Thursday or Friday.
Friday morning. We were able to get notices out Friday afternoon. They were done via regular mail. I signed the certificate, turned it in today. It was just a letter notifying of the P&D committee. I sent a copy to the committee of what we sent out. So the butters were notified. It's not a public hearing, obviously. It's a
Right.
public meeting, but yes, they
Yeah.
were notified.
Okay.
We will go to public hearing at some point, yeah, okay.
Correct.
You have any other questions?
So is it appropriate, we're gonna have a site visit?
Yep.
Is it appropriate to do 1.8.3 now, just so we know what to look at when we're there a little bit, or?
Yeah, we can
Just
go
wait.
through that. Do you wanna go through 1.8.3 as the conditions for the special council permit? I like to sometimes just have this on the record during the meeting.
Yeah, and I'd also like to just go over 5.13. Some of the things like the balloon test that we've mentioned, and there's another thing on 5.13 that is that condition that we talked about, so that would be helpful just to kind of figure that out
Sure.
before we.
Let me just get my,
May I ask for the chair, can we identify the people in the back?
Only if they want to be identified.
It's
up to them.
We are in a butter.
Okay, I was gonna ask, this isn't a public hearing, but are there issues, questions that you have that you would like us to bring up here?
Yeah, I just have questions about what type of disruption is gonna happen while things are being built, like a private road going up there, real road. What type of equipment is coming up?
I don't know, I mean, our property could certainly be in that peak point there.
I would think so.
And I also saw something in the presentation that something of no dwelling or daycare within 219 feet or something. There's definitely houses that are even closer to the current
Yeah.
tower than ours.
Okay,
They're not keeping
There
it, yeah.
are dwellings that are pretty close to this tower, so.
okay. The disruptions in dwelling proximity.
Yeah, like what type, like how many trucks are coming, how frequently it could happen, and what is the noise gonna be like, what is, you know,
Right,
all of the, just all of that.
okay.
Where
Where do you live?
48.
48 New Way Lane?
I mean, I'm sure most of the area around there is
Yeah.
vacant land for the city of Gloucester, but
Except for us.
we're right there.
Okay.
So we are,
I'm happy that you came when you got the letter about
we did get.
We gotta get.
being aware,
Uh,
so this
Monday.
is the beginning of the process.
hey, Martin, can you stop sharing?
All right.
Second here. So as I'm bringing up my little filing for the legal brief here.
Yeah.
See, do you want to talk about the balloon test while I do that? So one thing that we did ask, or that we referenced,
In the packet, just,
yeah, let's share my
we know
document.
what 5.1.3 is
This
in the
is,
packet.
well, you just call it, I can call it up right here.
What the heck is mine here? Okay. So we can conduct a So typically when we have a new tower, or a tower actually, we can conduct what we call a balloon test or a crane test, so that what we do is we go, there we go. We basically take a balloon, we tether it to a string or a rope, and we fly the balloon at the height of the proposed tower. Usually a big red kind of weather balloon so that everybody can see it. With the weather, we may have to use a crane if we can get a crane in there to do that, so that obviously if it's just tethered to a string and it starts blowing around, we don't get,
difficult
it's
to-
just
yeah,
not,
I understand.
it's not up there, so it doesn't give a good result. But we can fly this balloon, in this instance, we have a 76-foot tower. So you kind of know what it looks like, but if the city wants to see a balloon test, that's part of the
Well,
ordinance, so we're willing to
Because
do this.
it's nearly twice, almost twice as high.
Yep, no, I get it. Yep.
Relevant. I wanted to do that, What did you have questions on 513?
Well, that was helpful, and I'm trying to,
So what we do, I have the ordinance. So what I did was I went through each section of the ordinance painstakingly.
yeah,
And responded to each as to how we address, each of the sections. We don't have to run through all of them, but I'll scroll slowly if there's any in particular that. I would say that any buildings or any residences that are on the property certainly, don't apply for the fall zone, because our property owner's given us the approval to move forward with this. This is definitions, we don't need any of that, so. We submitted the application, we submitted the form. I'm gonna go a little quickly. I'm familiar with what these are. There's no real standard. We think we provided adequate plans for, what we're proposing to do. We're in the flood zone X, as I mentioned. We're not located in the flood risk model from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We submitted the application form, the fee. Plans, we put the fall zone boundaries on the plans, the 100% and 150%. Those are those two circles that I referenced that were on our site plan. We've provided a narrative with a photograph of the existing conditions. We gave you a map of all of AT&T's existing conditions, if you remember, that one in the center. We do have to have NEPA compliance, National Environmental Policy Act, and the National Historic Preservation Act. These both passed the last time and will be updated if and when approved. We did not do an alternatives analysis since there's a pole on this property. So we didn't go and look for a place where we could do other locations. I can have Maren again. We do these things called small cells now, and that's where I've appeared, counselor, in front of your committee from time to time, where we use existing utility poles. We need a wide footprint of coverage. Those just not going to work for a wide footprint like this. It would be a situation where we're downtown, we're near a busy area where the network is becoming drains at certain times, so they add capacity to it. But we feel this this is a tower replacement and not a whole new tower. We have to analyze alternatives. We have to build a new tower on a different parcel. Other relevant materials, plans, anything else that obviously the city council is interested in getting from us, we're happy to reply in to reasonable request. Section 6409 is not applicable here. That's where you can attach. It's for existing poles or existing wireless facilities. If in fact we're able to extend the tower, we wouldn't have to be here at all. We'd go through this section 6409.
Suzanne, can I ask you, you mentioned something about federal regulations that overshadow local ordinances and zoning. What does that mean?
Well, that's sort of what Ed was just referring to, right? So there's certain, under the Telecommunications Act, the city can regulate this, but but typically what happens is that the federal law is preempts a lot of what we typically have authority over for table of uses, whether or not we can say no wireless facilities here, but because this is an existing wireless facility, we don't really have that issue as much.
Okay.
So it's not gonna pertain to this application. You know, as much as if there's a new location, if we were putting in a facility somewhere and we were looking at whether or not there was an appropriate location.
Yeah, I think the last time I was here, I did a site on Concord Road and, you know, we went through the whole area. We looked at other lots to show that this was the best. I mean, the bottom line is if we have a carrier that needs to provide coverage, the city can't prevent it as long as we meet the criteria that, you know, we comply with emissions, comply with the ordinance to the extent possible. Now, here I'm at section 513, 6.2, the independent peer review. Obviously, the city can peer review our materials if they so choose. I think they're pretty straightforward, but if, you know, you have someone that you want to retain to look at our RF information, that's, you know, certainly something that the ordinance allows you to do. And Suzanne probably, I think that's what Suzanne was referring to earlier. This is not something we do. This would be something you would have to
Right,
initiate.
I understand.
We're comfortable with where we are, but.
Are there any other studies that we would be looking at other than the RF study?
Is the coverage gap something that we,
Co-
you know, we could, so one of the arguments or one of the positions here is that they are need to, essentially, the pole and the height is required in order to provide the coverage.
Right.
So that can be something we look at, whether or not there is actually sufficient coverage already, and therefore this isn't necessary. So that is something that the city council can review and provide the third party review on that coverage.
And that's typically done by the same company, so it's like the same consultant. It's this. If you look at the radio frequency coverage maps and the analysis that went into that, that same company would also review the emissions report because it's the same science. So we think the gap's pretty clear, but again, we defer to the city council.
Okay.
The balloon of the crane test, I think I already explained, 513.6.3. If we want to do one, we can schedule it up. It takes coordination. We do them all the time. Not a big deal.
Okay.
We asked that, or we, you know, asserted that we don't need it because we have a tower, but I understand there are some neighbors here and maybe the city councilors want to see the.
I think the issue here is that it's a significant height increase for what
It is.
is there. And so I think that I initially wasn't all that concerned about it, but I think that in view of the fact that we have neighbors that are a little closer than I expected, I just looked up on the thing. I wanted to ask you something. You made a comment, you own the road, but
We do.
do they have?
We gave
They have
Barletta
access.
the right of way for
Okay,
his tenants and for
Okay.
people who want to pass to go to his home. Yes,
so they have do they have right of access?
they do.
So there's no issue there.
I guess I would just say on the part of the height is being driven by the city. So just so we all
I understand
understand that, you know,
Yeah, but-
but AT&T's position is they need a antenna center line of 120. So,
Okay,
and what we could do is we could run the balloon at, you know, the 120, 125 that AT&T needs, and then we could put it up to the full 145. So you'd have kind of two balloons on the same tether, so you can see kind of, here's the cut where the carriers are going, here's the cut where the city would be.
is this something, how quickly could a balloon test be put together so that we could do the balloon test and the site visit on the same time?
It'll take a week or two to schedule.
Okay,
Now, if we can get a crane, so there was a question about what we would bring up there.
Yeah.
We would need a crane to go up so that it would be stationary. We could use a flag. Yeah, I mean, we could still tie a balloon, but they tend to pop. We could do a flag. We just need points of reference. So you can look up and say, oh, that's the red flag is the height of the top of the
Yeah.
tower. The red, you know, the yellow flag is this. If it's on a tether, if it's windy, and, you know, I talked to SBA this morning about this. It's
not
windy.
on- Right, it's windy.
So if we can get a crane up there, it's just a little more challenging to arrange, because now we have a crane company and the balloon company. And what they'll do is we'll fly the balloon, we'll take pictures around and, you know, produce a report for the full city council. And we can superimpose the tower, so you see that, you know, it's like a photo simulation. We could do that all in one swoop, and you can do the site visit at the same time. We just need to coordinate that. It's not gonna happen in it won't be done in 2 weeks. Yeah, I know your next meeting, I think it's 2 weeks from
In 2
tonight.
weeks from now.
We're probably looking at needing 2 weeks from there, but whatever your next meeting is, whether that's December 3rd.
December 3rd is the following meeting, and then after that will be January 7th.
So if we could, I think the problem is with public notice. So if all three of you are gonna go to a meeting at the site, as part of a site visit, I assume you post those as a
We-
meeting?
We don't
We
have
don't
to
need
site
to.
visit. We
Okay.
don't do any
Because
deliberation.
we
of the
don't,
site
we just
visits.
ask questions, we're
Fine.
not allowed to do.
So what we'll be able to do then
We
is,
do let the neighbors know though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, we can mail the notice of the balloon test to the abutters. We're
Yeah.
transparent. It's,
Yeah.
you're gonna see what you're gonna see. We're not claiming it's invisible. I'll need some time to schedule it. I can let the P and D committee know when we have a solid schedule. Do you prefer it on a weekdays, weekend? I mean, it's silly to do it in
I
the
think
dark.
a weekend makes, if
Weekend?
that can work
If we
better.
We could
for
try.
you.
Saturday.
Yeah.
We could try a Saturday, like, late morning.
Yep.
Just generally.
There's also that if the abutters are working too, it
I agree.
makes sense to have them
Yep.
be able to be there.
If we're gonna spend the money, let's do it so
Make
that
sure-
everybody can
right,
see it.
fair enough.
So we could I'll try for a late morning on a Saturday.
Mhm.
We'll fly for a couple hours. If I can get a crane up there, great. We'll notify the abutters of the balloon float. We'll notify the P and D committee, obviously. I'll get to work on that.
So
And
when
then-
is our meeting in December?
December 3rd.
What is it?
When is our city council full meeting?
December 9th.
And that's our last meeting for the year.
Okay, so the only issue that I have is that I'm not gonna be on the committee for next year. So if this goes later than that date, then my value of being at these meetings isn't gonna help. So I'm wondering if maybe the next few meetings, I'll still come, but maybe you get another member that we know is reelected. That will be
They can attend, correct?
attend.
Even
Yes,
if
yes,
they're
I
not
can.
sworn in? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
That's-
Oh, you mean if they're not sworn in, or you
Right.
need another
No,
reelected?
no, it would have to be someone that's still on the committee
Yes,
now,
yeah,
right? Just to
Somebody
have-
who's on the
as a
council
backup.
now. who can-
So-
Okay.
Because isn't it true that if this process that someone that is sworn in, they may not be able to vote on something that's already
They have
been in
to-
process,
they have
is
to go
that
through
true?
Right, so what
Yeah.
you'd wanna do is you wanna have somebody who's on the council now, who's
Yeah.
going to be on the council next
Right.
year, sit in also,
Yeah, we'll have
and
our
that would
alternate.
be the
Yeah.
recommendation.
It's Scott, isn't it?
Okay.
We'll have it all.
And then my only other thing is just, confirmation with lines that, the city clerk approved this on October 21st. Okay,
That's when I believe that's when it came in through the mail.
okay, and then the building inspector approved this on October 16th,
That
just for the record. we should-
What was it? Could you give me the dates again?
I
City
believe the
clerk?
document said that the city clerk, approved this, accepted this,
The application.
the application on October 21st. So we have to watch that date from
Yeah.
a timing
Yeah.
standpoint.
What is our, at that point, what do we?
So 65 days, we're going to have to open it and continue it on the 25th and then kind of keep that rolling. That's.
Yeah, that's what we typically do.
Yeah.
All right, well, then I guess.
Let me also say that we know this takes time.
Mhm.
We're reasonable.
Okay.
We will accommodate,
Appreciate it.
we don't want we don't want you wasting your time. We don't want our time
No, no,
wasted and
no.
our expenses. If we need to extend either opening a public hearing or, moving dates, we'll work with you to do it as long as we're reasonable. I think we're fine under the federal law. We have 150 days. So I think that gives you more time than you're probably operating under.
Yeah, no, we just, our concern was making sure that we get the public hearing opened in time.
Yep.
We're not.
And if
restricted.
the butters wish to send you, want the questions, how can they send that to you? Just-
So if they got the notice,
Yeah.
my name, phone number and email
Okay.
address is on there. It's the letter K. It wasn't a letter, it was a memo. It was a
Okay.
notice, so I didn't want to sign something that was coming from P and D.
Okay,
But if you look at the top, my
Give
law
it
firm
the
name
address.
and all my
Yeah.
information is there.
okay, that's great.
If you email me, you'll find I'm very responsive.
Okay,
Can I just add something? So you said that you were going to provide a report to the P and D from the balloon test?
Well, I was gonna provide the notice of when the balloon float will take place so that they can go out there. And then
Right,
there'll be a report,
and then,
Correct.
you'll give them provide a report for the record.
That's
of that
correct.
balloon
At the
Of
next
test.
the,
meeting.
of the results, of the results of the balloon test.
Yeah, so we'll go to the site visit, we'll watch the balloon test,
Yeah.
we will then give us, at the next P and D meeting that we will have a review of what we experienced with the balloon test.
I don't know if it'll be the next meeting, but yeah, because I don't think it'll all be done by the third, but it'll be actual
Yeah.
photos of what took, it'll
fine.
document and evidence what we did.
Okay,
Okay.
And then we'll have it digitized in, so you'll see what the tower would look like at
that's
that
fine,
location.
it's just, we're not looking at getting this all done next week, because.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
All right, so you're gonna get back to us when you have availability to do the balloon test,
Correct.
and you will then, we'll go through the.
We're
notice
gonna shoot for
process.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Late morning. And you're gonna do the, let me make a note here. You're gonna do the site visit at the same time.
Yeah, that makes most sense.
Yep.
Less,
What's the last time that we can advertise for public hearing? If we are able to make that last, that first city council meeting in December.
So we won't, so we could technically, if the 65 days, I believe.
65.
Well, we can continue
Yeah,
the
well-
65 days. I'm just asking in terms of putting the ad in for the actual public.
The added, they have to advertise before the public hearing goes on the agenda. It has to, and I believe a public hearing has to go in twice, so it's 2 weeks before.
And
So
what's your concern about that? Is there an issue that we
Oh,
can
no.
address?
My,
Or you just-
my concern is that I'd like to be part of this, if we can,
Oh, I
if we
see.
can push it along, or else I'm not a member.
Right.
And so I can't help with the
Okay.
vote coming on a subcommittee. I'm just giving you a heads up,
Okay.
so. This is important, and
Right,
I'm
right.
excited to be part of it, because I'd, like to see it. into
When is
fruition.
when is the city council change? When are they
January
sworn in?
1st.
January 1st.
We'll keep things moving, but.
Okay, well, we can have another,
think we need to be
the
realistic.
benefit about Zoom is that Scott can just jump in and start coming to this. And he can get duly caught up by watching this.
Yeah, I really
Right,
look
so,
forward to
so
it.
that really helps a lot, so,
And not the short circuit, I was going through these, I mean, I think that's kind of the end of it. Is there something else you wanted to?
we were gonna go through 1.8.3.
183.
That's the 7 conditions of a special council permit.
Still at 513.
That's okay.
Here we go, 183?
Yeah, 1.8, yeah. In harmony and general purpose, and I mean, we have this in our packet, we can read it ourselves,
Yeah.
and we like to have it available, when people check into the meetings. So that we have,
Right, so what I did was I went through each section, that's in bolded text. These are the standards to be applied from the ordinance, and then I responded to each of
In
them.
the
based on
non-bolded
the
text, yeah.
In the not bolded text. And now, again, this is based on AT&T's network, because the other carriers are already operating, so. It'll be secure. If you want me to run through them, or.
just briefly, I think
the
we can
highlights.
just go,
Yep.
go through these.
So, it'll provide wireless services for AT&T customers. It'll certainly, once the other carriers move over, as I said, the coverage from them will get significantly better. We comply with all of the codes and requirements. The one exception that we asked for a waiver from was that 30-foot setback, and we think where we have it is, even preferable based on the open space from the city of Gloucester properties. We comply with all codes and requirements. We'll apply for a building permit. We comply with the emissions, which are regulated exclusively by the FCC, and we provided that. The facility is surrounded by a security fence, AT&T's, and I can say Verizon and T-Mobile also each of their sites are monitored at a network operations center 24/7. If something were to malfunction, they're able to shut it down and get a technician out immediately, or if there's any sort of tampering from anybody getting into the compound. It's a drop and swap. We think it has pretty minimal effect. on the surrounding properties. Since there's already a tower located there, we're not introducing an entirely new element, albeit it's certainly higher. It's going to be a benefit to residents, businesses, travelers, people along Route 138. Anybody in the area will get much better service. The gaps are well identified in our radio frequency report, which Martin went over. We comply, so we're not a threat to public health, safety, and welfare. In fact, wireless is now, for the most part, 80% of 911 calls are made on wireless devices. The facility is also a FirstNet facility for AT&T, so that's the network I talked about for public safety first responders. Likewise, we've worked pretty extensively with Gloucester Fire and Gloucester Police to provide space on the tower, space on the ground for their equipment, and backup power generator service. That's through AT&T. It's not going to provide any, it's not going to create any additional noise. Traffic is, once it's operational, you're probably 1 or 2 times a month from a technician with a technician van or some kind of SUV. I don't know what people are experiencing now with the 3 carriers, but that's generally it. They kind of get up and running, and once they're integrated, they just, kind of truck along. For construction purposes, we'd be looking at a cement truck, some kind of excavator to dig the foundation, cement to pour the foundation. We'd bring a crane in to erect the tower, bolt it in. That would be kind of bucket trucks or, cranes if they can't reach with the bucket truck. To attach the antennas, attach the mounts to the pole, attach the antennas to the mounts. All of the wires run on the inside of the monopole, so that, from each antenna and each of the remote radio units, there's just wiring that goes into the monopole, down, goes out at ground level, out to the equipment cabinets. None of that on the ground would be visible.
May
Yeah,
I
please.
ask a question?
Yeah.
So if there was any damage to the private road with
Yeah.
the bucket trucks and the concrete trucks coming in, you would restore it?
We
to
own it.
the-
We own it.
Okay,
You own the damage.
We own the damage. We don't own the man.
Yeah.
We have rights to the
so
road.
if we
Right.
if we felt that it was helpful to have that as a condition, just in writing, or is that just understood?
Well, I'll suggest maybe you talk to your legal counsel about
Right.
that, so I'm not giving advice, but it's private property. Now, if it was a city road, certainly.
Right.
We would have to repair any damage we
Right.
did to a city road.
Okay.
On private property, I'd ask that you get advice from
Okay.
your counsel on that.
Thank you, understood.
We do use an easement, so it's not. I don't even know if it's a gravel road or, I'm not sure how we access the site, whether it's paved, gravel, but our obligation is to our property. And if it's shared to those folks in interest also,
Okay,
depending on how the document's drafted, frankly.
Right.
all right,
The monopole allow for, all 4 carriers that are operating, they're the major carriers. The emissions are 22.86% of the FCC limit, which we went through. As I said, they're monitored so that we can detect any malfunction or tampering. Second, standard is traffic flow and safety. As I mentioned, once the sites get going, they just don't visit them.
yeah,
But if maintenance is required, if equipment fails and they have to go up, again, we just use an average 1 or 2 trips a month in a nondescript, pickup truck or SUV. Most of the work is done down in the equipment.
mhm,
It's all electronic equipment down in the shelter area. There could be problems with the generator. So the technicians are coming in to deal with ground-based equipment.
mhm.
If there's anything on the pole, then we'd have to obviously bring in a crane to address any, antenna issues or anything that's up, high off the road. Utilities, we require electricity and communication services, fiber. So I think as the chief mentioned, AT&T will probably be pulling in fiber. I don't know what's available at the site yet, but we'll work with the utility company. Utilities are easy for us. They're, basic electricity and fiber, and we're up and running.
So when you're pulling fiber through and upgrading this. These are through existing conduits in the road.
It may be if they're underground or they might be on poles, fiber, we run fiber above ground also.
Okay.
It just depends what we're like every, AT&T is like any other,
Right.
Service customer. We call the fiber company, the communications company, and say, we want fiber, bring up the DMARC, and how you gonna get it to us?
Well, I'm asking him on behalf of folks who live next door, whether or not, having to dig up the road again or doing anything.
Oh, I see.
that.
Yeah, that really depends on who brings in the fiber. Those are road permits, which we would get. I mean, we comply with all the requirements. So if we need police details, we get police details.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about returning the road to the condition in which
Yep.
it was. 'Cause
You want to put them
oftentimes-
underground and repave the road, I'm not gonna stop you.
Okay, that's sort of getting to the idea of what, I hate when
And we know
utilities
how
come in
expensive that
and
is.
trench. And then, of course, you destroy the road by trenching it
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it just turns into a mess.
Anyway, I'll take a more specific, I get the point. I'll take a more specific look at how the utilities are proposed.
Right.
It's not always our say because I don't know if you've dealt with utility companies. I bet you have. and
On
they're
a
not
fairly
included.
regular basis, yeah.
Verizon upgraded that tower last year.
Yeah.
And they ran a new line on the power pole.
They're all above ground.
And so
That's all
we have
above.
very fast 5G ultra wideband service there now,
Okay.
but I don't think anything's on the ground.
So
Okay,
if
that's actually good.
we would probably follow the same, whatever Verizon brought in, we would probably bring in probably from the same provider. If we have a DMARC point that's already there that we can tap into, that's what we would do.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, I
We
think it
would
was
follow the
Verizon
cheapest,
themselves
quickest way
That
possible.
ran the line. I talked to the guys because they were outside the house. So that was about literally about a year ago.
All right,
Okay.
good to know.
Helpful.
Thank you, that's good. Neighborhood character and social structure. Again, the tower was approved. We're using an existing site. You don't end up with two poles. We think it makes sense. We understand it's taller, but it's, the site and the area are already impacted by a tower. Albeit this will be taller, and maybe the site visit and the balloon test will bear that out a little bit. The site is already cleared. We are required to comply with the emissions requirements. We are also required to comply with NEPA, historic and so forth. All of those reviews will be undertaken. Again, this was already approved back in 2003. Verizon has added, most recently Dish came on, I think even after that. So they're all complying. Our compliance people will run through that. We're not doing any clearing. We're using existing access drives, et cetera. The nice thing about using an existing site, that everything is there access wise, and the visual impact, at least to the extent it's already impacted, is there. Potential fiscal impact, yeah. There's not a lot, the city's gonna benefit from being able to use the tower, being able to use the property, being able to use the generator. Frankly, I'm not a tax person. I don't know if towers are taxed. My guess is they probably are somehow, but so, we're not a burden. There's no school requirements, no sewer, there's no water. It's an unmanned facility. We don't produce any waste. We just operate. We're completely passive except for going up for, either maintenance visits or technical failures. We're in the flood zone X. We're not in the coastal risk model. Tower's been there, it's not flooding. The last thing is the Federal Telecommunications Act of 1996, which governs the applications. Suzanne kind of ran through that. Kind of an interesting read if you have
That's
nothing
good.
else to do, but.
All right, so I think at this point, we're at,
Maybe we could have one thing more additionally addressed.
yeah.
So you provided coverage maps
We did.
for the height. Have you also provided any information as to if the antennas were lower, how that would affect the coverage that you're providing? Like just to show the city council and the P&D committee that height is necessary in order to provide that coverage.
So a reduced height, maps for a reduced height and some coverage.
Yes,
Top
yeah.
of like we did, we could do that. So,
If it goes lower, then we're up.
Ye-
This is too low for me to get over the trees and get the coverage I need.
so I'm glad you said that, Chief, because I don't want to put words in your mouth. The height is being driven by the city. So we're at 125, they're adding 25. So let me just, if I can finish. We can provide that data. The data for a 10-foot reduction is kind of irrelevant. It's just, we're not gonna show big differences. I can tell you right now, if you look at two coverage maps at 10 feet different, you're gonna say, we're gonna be nibbling at the edges. So what we can do is we can show some differences between with a 20-foot reduction. So we can show you 120 and then show you what it would look like at 100. And then you can kind of extrapolate. Otherwise, you just don't see a difference. I mean, it's not gonna be visible on those colored plots. They're gonna shrink in a little bit. You're gonna say, well, where did it change? But we'll provide statistics. I'd suggest we go to a 20-foot decrease, then you can see it, then you, in your mind's eye, you can say, well, it's somewhere in between.
Then we lose the benefit of the first.
But as I said, the height here is driven by AT&T at 120. That's what we'll defend, but the 145 is not ours.
And I guess the other question is can you have your first responder at 120?
Yeah, if we're, well,
If you're
that's
untalking
where
them, doesn't-
AT&T is gonna be, so we can't occupy the same space as them. We're gonna be above them regardless. But the height that we're at is what is recommended by our radio company in order to get the coverage to make a $70,000 give or take investment into a site. That upfront equipment purchase cost, to get that site stood up for us. Cause I mean, there's a lot of equipment, but it's a ton of labor as well.
Right.
So it's.
So a couple of other issues that we need to remember to address. One is the issue of the training fee, whether or not what's reasonable and in that regard.
Yeah, and for us, I mean, honestly, for this kind of tower, there's no climbing that goes on in it, on it, around it at all. It all has to be done by crane. So there is no training piece. We're not a tech rescue team. The county through the Essex County Fire Chiefs provides that support with the state. So there's really nothing there on that. The biggest support that I would ask for, beg for that they do is help with the cost of pulling that fiber up there.
Okay,
If they're doing it already, adding another strand and whatever cost that is to pull it up, because I know our IT department wants our whatever cabling they use for fiber and however it's put together, because we do have fiber all the way down on Essex Ave. So we want to connect there and bring our own fiber up so we're isolated. No one else is on the same line.
and then the other issue is the removal of the existing tower once it's done, the timeline, and also a guarantee that it's gonna happen in a reasonable period of time. We double poles are in all regards to
I
utilities
know,
there.
I know.
And we certainly don't want double poles if they're 75 and 100 and something feet tall.
So I think we can craft a reasonable condition as long as, again, we don't fully control everybody in the process. So like your double pole issue on the public right of ways, I deal with it all the time and it's frustrating. I get it. But it's the utility company that needs to come in and take them out and everybody has to switch their wires. And in this case, we've got to get those three carriers to move their stuff. I think we can craft up a reasonable decision with the understanding if something goes wrong, I don't know what that would be, that we would just come back and explain what happened, and if not, we gotta remove it.
Is there anything else that we should be worrying about tonight?
Not that I can think of.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we will wait to hear from you on a date for balloon test and site visit.
Yep.
We'll make sure that neighbors are noticed on that event, so that they can be in attendance. Generally speaking, those are, we ask questions, we don't deliberate. We may entertain questions from abutters, but it's really for the council to be there to hear what they have to say. We are generally pretty good about asking questions from abutters because obviously we're representing you in this regard. So, but we'll try to make sure that you can attend. And that'll be in the next few weeks-ish.
I'm hoping to get you something next week or,
Okay.
the week
All right.
after with a solid date.
Okay.
And you're gonna continue this until the 3rd, right? Is that the,
I think we'll continue the P and D level to the meeting after the site visit. So we can put it on the agenda, but
I think we need a date though, right?
We will.
Well, the
put it on
public hearing
agenda
is being-
And just have to open it and continue.
that's the public hearing.
Here too, we need to do that as
Yeah,
well.
that would be okay to do too, because if we have an update of the day of the site visit, we'll be able to be
Bring
in
it up on
public
the
session
thing.
to
Yeah,
say it, and
Okay.
that will
I'm
be
just
more
gonna- I'll-
we'll
definitive.
just continue it on each agenda
Yeah.
moving forward.
Okay.
but if we don't, I mean, I think that if we don't have anything new to discuss, you don't necessarily have to be here
Right,
for
right, right.
that.
Wait, and you have the Zoom option, and you
And
always
you always
have.
have, exactly, so you
Yeah.
can always come in on Zoom.
Good.
All right,
That's
is there
helpful.
anything
And
else?
Just one more
Sure,
thing.
please.
Jason's already said 95% of it. But when we've got that list of questions, what we do is you're answering them for us on the site visit. And whomever the abutters are, but then we come back and we once again answer the questions in the public session.
Sure.
And
We
so
generally
that-
submit the questions.
And,
to you,
and
so
we
can-
actually sometimes even have them in the packet so
Great.
people know that they're coming and members of the public can see them in advance. And then we just formally answer them.
Excellent,
Okay.
Yeah.
that works.
All right, so we'll put something for the next P and D, we'll wait to hear from you, we'll do the notice, and in the meantime, we'll work on removal plan with Suzanne, and we can bring that back.
Yep, we can come up with some ideas today.
Good, all right.
Great.
Anything
Thank you
else?
all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
I just had a quick question. So the documents that were displayed today, are those publicly available?
They are.
Like the RF document and the application?
We can get you the link for that,
I can get them to you.
yeah.
Okay.
All
figured this was
of
those
our
PDFs.
packets, all of our packets for city council subcommittee are listed on the website, so you have access to the same information we did.
Okay.
Like today, I was just scrolling through it. It's really long, but all the documents.
300 pages.
And you can go
You want
in-
the agenda to this
It's on
meeting?
standing
Yeah, the documents
committee,
to be
go,
read.
go on city
Okay.
council to standing, to
Standing.
documents, and then go standing committee P and D.
Yep.
And you can get the packet. that
But we can say, if you give us information, we can
We'll
send
give you
it.
the-
But
okay,
if
great.
there's any other individual documents that
Mine's
you
will-
need,
mine's will take care of it.
Ryan's will, you can go to the clerk's office and ask. Ryan.
And
If you
I,
just wait out till after the meeting, I'll be able to get your email and I'll be able to just send
Thank you.
it direct to you.
and I have two quick questions.
All right. go
One
ahead.
is, this is just for one tower, right? This does not give like carte blanche to like, we're gonna put
No.
another one and another. This is
One tower,
This is
yeah.
literally just replacing, okay. The other question, maybe I can do this after. I'm new here,
Yeah.
right? So let's just say you do this balloon test, and I don't anticipate having any issues. But let's just say I did, like, what's the process if I'm like, no way, man, not having that.
Well, welcome to the
Like,
federal.
Yeah, so like, then
yeah.
like, what happens?
Well, then,
Is there actually an option to say no? If
What's
there's
the-
no option to say no, then what's the point of?
what's the
balloon test?
public, it's a public hearing process.
There is a
where
public
you-
hearing.
Where you
Okay.
would come back and
Yeah.
say, you were concerned with this, and you'd be telling the full council at the time.
Got it.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not, I guess
Other
this
than the
is- the
fact that I don't
question
like
is,
it.
I think that's a fair question,
Yeah.
because, you know, we get into these situations where there are sort of prescribed outcomes.
Sure.
What our process is to try to finesse it to the best interest of everybody involved, and it may not be that we can stop. That's what happened in 2005. The city council
Is that when
denied
the
it.
tower went up in 2000?
They went, you know, they went to court.
Oh, okay.
And then the tower went up
Okay.
because the court said you don't have the authority to
Got it.
deny a permit. But
Mm-hmm.
we do try to, you know, see what we can do in terms of mitigating the impacts as much as we can. I mean, that's in all
I mean, we've
honesty.
been there 15 years. It has not been an issue, you know,
Okay.
so I don't anticipate any
Well,
issues. I'm just
yeah.
curious about
We
the
had heard some
process.
things happening with the tower, but until you know what's really
No, it's-
happening,
it's-
it's,
it's-
you know,
it's why-
No,
you don't know.
If you reach out to me with any questions,
Yes.
you'll,
Yeah.
I'll be responsible.
Well, great that you came, so that's helpful, okay?
All
As
right.
you can see, we're right there, so.
Fair enough.
We see the
Um,
trucks coming up. We see them trying to
Yes.
get up there.
All right, you got anything else, folks?
No?
Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
All right, second it, you second it?
Oh, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we want to go home, Dylan, so you
There
gotta,
you go.
No, I do, I mean, I'm.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
don't forget your bag.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.